What if the script you followed for decades was written by a world that no longer exists? What if your life after 40 calls for a completely different story? When we talk about success, most of us picture a certain kind of image. A steady climb up the ladder, a steady paycheck, a home that looks just right in the neighborhood, respect from peers, maybe a certain status. These are familiar landmarks, but over time, they start to feel hollow. The landscape of success is shifting, and if you don't notice, it can leave you feeling lost, even invisible. The world around us has changed, dramatically, irrevocably. Careers that once promised stability dissolve in uncertainty. Societal values that once exalted material gain now often seem shallow, even cruel. The relentless pressure to keep up, to measure yourself against ever-moving standards, becomes exhausting. This is not just about money or status anymore. It's about something deeper, something quieter that calls from within. There is a subtle loneliness in realizing the old map doesn't fit the new terrain. When the markers that guided you no longer seem reliable, you face a choice. Keep wandering in circles or dare to explore unknown paths. You might feel pressure from family, from culture, from the voice inside that clings to old definitions, to stay on course. But what if staying on that path means ignoring your own evolving needs? What if the success you've chased doesn't bring the peace, joy, or meaning you crave now? As we age, our perspectives naturally shift. What was once urgent loses its grip. The frantic chase that consumed your younger years can begin to feel like a distraction from something more vital. Suddenly, success isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about something intimate, personal, fulfillment, purpose, well-being. This shift is not a loss. It's an awakening, a calling to redefine what matters most. Society, too, has begun to recognize this change. In recent years, ideas once considered fringe, like prioritizing mental health, seeking work-life balance, or embracing creativity for its own sake, have started to gain respect. The rise of personal fulfillment as a goal challenges traditional success narratives that focus purely on wealth or status. But embracing this new landscape is not simple. It asks us to confront the expectations etched deep into our psyche. The shoulds and musts that shaped our lives are powerful. They whisper that change means failure, that slowing down is weakness, or that seeking joy outside familiar arenas is risky. You might ask yourself, am I betraying everything I've worked for if I choose a different path? Am I wasting time? Is this shift a sign that I'm falling behind? These questions are not easy, but they are necessary, because only by facing them can you begin to unravel the tightly woven beliefs that may no longer serve you. In this unraveling, you discover something profound. Success is not a fixed point on a map, but a horizon that moves with you, sometimes close, sometimes distant, always shifting. What mattered at 30 might not matter at 50 or 60, and that's not a failure. It's evolution. This shifting landscape opens a door. Behind it lies a world where your goals are defined by your own heart, not by outside measures. A place where purpose feels alive, not imposed. Where well-being is not a luxury, but a foundation. Yet stepping through that door requires courage. It means confronting fears, fear of judgment, fear of regret, fear of the unknown. But imagine the alternative, continuing to live by outdated rules, feeling disconnected from yourself, resigned to a version of success that no longer fits. Which is the greater risk? The path ahead invites you to reclaim your narrative, to listen closely to your own voice, soft but persistent beneath the noise of expectation, to trust that your life, with all its complexities and contradictions, is worthy of a success defined by you alone. This journey isn't about erasing the past, but weaving it into a richer tapestry, one that includes your growth, your wisdom, your unique story. And so, as you stand at this crossroads, the question is not, what should success look like? But what does it feel like, deep inside, when I know I'm truly living my own truth? Hold that question close. Let it echo through your days, because the answer, when it comes, will not be a headline or a trophy. It will be a quiet knowing, a peace that comes from finally seeing the landscape of your life as yours, to shape again and again. By now, You might be feeling the weight of old expectations loosening, but the real work begins when you start looking inward, peeling back layers that shaped your view of success all these years. What if the idea you've held onto so tightly wasn't truly yours? What if it was borrowed, inherited, or simply the easiest path to follow? Think back. What did success mean to you when you were younger? Was it climbing a certain career ladder, owning a particular home, or meeting standards set by those around you? Often these definitions come not from our own hearts but from the voices that surrounded us: family, friends, society, even media. They told us what we should want, how we should measure ourselves. That's not a judgment, it's human. We all carry stories about who we're supposed to be. But as you move through life, these stories can start to feel like chains rather than wings. Now pause and ask, what parts of that old script still feel true? What parts feel like they belong to someone else? And most importantly, what parts no longer resonate? You may find that some values you once chased now feel hollow or even harmful. Maybe the relentless pursuit of external approval left you exhausted, disconnected from what truly matters. Or perhaps the need to prove your worth through achievements overshadowed the simple joys and deeper connections in your life. Recognizing this isn't easy. It can stir doubts and even guilt. Have I wasted time? Am I selfish for wanting something different now? These are honest fears, but they don't have to define you. What matters is the willingness to explore these questions without rushing to answers. To sit with uncertainty and listen closely to your own truth, even if it whispers softly or feels unfamiliar. Your personal definition of success is not a fixed destination, but a living idea, one that can change as you grow, as your circumstances evolve, as your heart opens to new possibilities. Maybe now success means nurturing relationships you once neglected, or dedicating time to passions you pushed aside, or simply feeling at peace with who you are, beyond titles and roles. This process is deeply personal. There's no right or wrong. There's only your journey, with all its complexity and beauty. You might find old beliefs tugging back, trying to pull you into familiar patterns, that inner voice that says, you should be doing more, or it's too late to change. It's important to recognize these voices, not to silence them harshly, but to understand where they come from. Often they stem from fear, protection, or habit. The power lies in choosing which voices to listen to and which to let rest. Choosing to honor your own values above external pressures is an act of courage, one that many never dare to take. Imagine how different life could feel if you allowed yourself to define success by what truly feeds your spirit, rather than by what looks good on paper or impresses others. If your days were measured not by how busy you are, but by how fulfilled you feel. This shift doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes it's the small moments, a quiet morning, a heartfelt conversation, a step toward a dream long buried. In this unveiling of your own truth, you reclaim your power. You open space to explore what truly lights you up, what brings you meaning beyond the checklist. This is not about abandoning responsibility or ambition. It's about aligning them with a deeper sense of self. It's about living with intention rather than obligation. There's freedom in this. Freedom to say no to what drains you, and yes to what nourishes your soul. Freedom to rewrite the story you tell yourself each day. And when you do this, something shifts inside. A quiet strength that comes from being honest with yourself. It's not always comfortable, but it's real. It's alive. So take a moment now. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what does success look like for me right now? What values do I want to carry forward? What parts of my old story am I ready to release? There's no rush to answer. The process itself is a gift, a journey inward that can lead to a life shaped by your own heart's compass, rather than the world's expectations. Hold this space gently, because as you begin to unpack your own definition of success, you set the foundation for a new chapter, one where you are both the author and the hero of your story. There comes a moment in life, often quiet, sometimes jolting, when you realize that the person you have been trying to be no longer fits. It's as if the mask you wore so well for decades starts to feel heavy, constricting, unfamiliar. The urge to shed it grows stronger. But shedding isn't easy. It means facing parts of yourself you might have ignored, silenced, or feared. Embracing authenticity after 40 is an act of bravery. It requires honesty with yourself about who you are today, not who you were or who others expected you to be. The journey is less about arriving at a perfect self and more about allowing yourself to evolve, to grow in ways you never imagined. It's tempting to cling to the past, to the identity shaped by years of effort and expectation. Yet true growth lies in accepting that change is not betrayal, but transformation. The path to authenticity is not linear. It twists and turns, sometimes backward, sometimes forward, always unpredictable. In this unfolding, you may discover passions long buried, interests you once dismissed, or values that have quietly shifted. What excited you at 20 or 30 may no longer hold the same appeal. And that's not failure, it's evolution. Your second act, whatever form it takes, is a chance to rewrite your story with fresh ink. It's a chapter where you celebrate your unique experiences, the lessons hard-earned, and the wisdom gained from years of living fully, with all its messiness and grace. This new chapter asks you to embrace imperfection, vulnerability, and uncertainty, to accept that you don't have all the answers, and that's perfectly okay. Sometimes authenticity means saying no to people, to roles, to routines that no longer align with your true self. It also means saying yes to curiosity, to new experiences, to the unknown. The courage to explore is a gift you give yourself. It might lead you down paths you never expected, but these detours often bring the most profound growth. You might worry about what others will think. That's natural. But the truth is, the only approval you truly need is your own. Living authentically isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about honoring your inner voice, even when it whispers against the noise of expectation. Imagine how different your days could feel if you allowed yourself the freedom to be messy, real, and evolving. If you welcomed change as a sign of life, not loss. If you saw every stumble not as failure but as part of the dance of becoming. Authenticity also invites connection with yourself and with others. When you show up as you truly are, you give others permission to do the same. You create space for deeper relationships, richer conversations, and a sense of belonging that goes beyond surface appearances. It's important to recognize that evolving doesn't erase your past. Your story is a tapestry woven from every choice, every experience, every moment of joy and pain. Authenticity means holding this tapestry with pride, knowing that every thread has its place. So, what does embracing your authentic self look like for you? Is it pursuing a hobby you set aside, reconnecting with old friends, starting a new career, or simply allowing yourself to rest without guilt? There is no right answer, only your answer. And it might surprise you how much peace comes from simply giving yourself permission to evolve without judgment. The road ahead won't always be smooth. You will face doubts, fears, and old habits trying to pull you back into familiar shapes. But each time you choose authenticity, you strengthen your own voice and step more fully into your own life. In this embrace of self, you don't just survive the passage of time, you thrive within it. You become a living testament to the power of change, growth, and honest living. Pause here and feel the weight lift slightly. This is not an ending, but a doorway. A door you can open again and again, welcoming each new version of yourself with kindness and courage. And as you stand at this threshold, remember, your authenticity is your most profound success. It's a gift to yourself and to the world, uniquely yours, endlessly unfolding. Change, real meaningful change, is rarely easy. When you decide to redefine success and embrace a new path, you step into unfamiliar territory. The ground feels uncertain beneath your feet, and the horizon can seem blurred by fear, doubt, or the weight of old expectations. You might wonder, can I really do this? Is it too late? What will others think? These questions are natural companions on the journey, but they don't have to become roadblocks. One of the first challenges in this transition is facing the fear of failure. After years of striving, the idea of starting anew can feel like stepping into a void. The comfort of old roles, even if unfulfilling, tempts us with familiarity. But comfort is not always what we need to grow. Fear whispers, stay where it's safe. But growth calls, step forward anyway. Remember, failure isn't the enemy, it's a teacher. Each stumble holds a lesson, a clue to the next step. What feels like a setback today may be the foundation of your future strength. Another challenge lies in the expectations set by society, family, or even yourself. Sometimes, the hardest chains to break are the invisible ones, the voices that tell you how you should live, what you must accomplish, and when it's too late to change. But here's a quiet truth. There is no expiration date on becoming who you truly want to be. Life after 40, 50, 60, or beyond isn't about chasing youth or past ideals. It's about honoring your present self and the wisdom earned through time. Navigating this transition means learning to hold space for your doubts without letting them define you. It means recognizing when to push forward and when to rest, when to ask for help and when to trust your own instincts. Practical steps can help steady the path. Start small. Change doesn't require giant leaps. It begins with tiny shifts, a new morning ritual, carving out time for a passion, or simply allowing yourself to say no. Build a support network. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, who listen without judgment, who celebrate your courage to evolve. Practice patience. Growth unfolds in its own time, not on a schedule. Allow yourself grace when progress feels slow or invisible. Embrace learning. Every day brings new opportunities to learn about yourself and the world. Curiosity can become a powerful ally against fear. Reflect regularly. Take moments to check in with yourself. Are your actions aligning with your new definition of success? What adjustments might you need? It's also important to be kind to yourself when setbacks come. Redefining your life's path is a process, not a perfect project. You will face moments of uncertainty, resistance, and maybe even regret. These are not failures but signals that you're engaged in something real and transformative. As you navigate this transition, cultivate a mindset that welcomes growth as a lifelong journey. Each step, no matter how small, carries meaning. Each choice to embrace your truth is a victory. Imagine this path not as a narrow road but a wide, winding river. Sometimes calm and steady, sometimes wild and uncertain, but always moving forward, carving new landscapes in its course. You are the one steering this river. The direction is yours to choose. And even when the current feels strong, remember, you carry the strength of your experiences, the wisdom of your years, and the resilience born of surviving life's storms. This journey may ask you to let go of old identities, familiar patterns, or limiting beliefs. But in that letting go, space opens for something new and vibrant. Pause now and consider. What fears might be holding you back? What small step can you take today toward the life you envision? Who can you turn to for support as you move forward? There is no single map for this journey. Each path is unique, shaped by your desires, fears, and hopes. But one thing is certain. Every step toward your authentic self brings you closer to a life filled with meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Imagine waking up each morning with a quiet excitement, not the restless kind that pulls you into busyness or stress, but a calm, steady feeling that you're living a life aligned with what truly matters to you. Building a life you love isn't about chasing perfection or checking off a list of achievements. It's about crafting a daily experience that reflects your values, passions, and deepest sense of purpose. This is the life that honors your journey, the one shaped by both triumphs and trials, by growth and by the moments that tested your resilience. Many have walked this path before you. People who, after decades of following expectations, paused, reflected, and decided to reclaim their story. Some have changed careers, started creative projects, nurtured new relationships, or simply chose to slow down and savor the ordinary. Their stories are diverse, yet one thread ties them all together: the courage to prioritize what feeds their soul over what pleases others. Learning doesn't stop here. This new chapter invites continuous curiosity about the world, about others, and most importantly, about yourself. The process of growth is never finished, and that is a beautiful truth. Taking risks, no matter how small, becomes a vital part of this life. Risks not born of recklessness, but of faith. Faith in your capacity to adapt, to learn, to flourish in unfamiliar spaces. When you build a life you love, you embrace discomfort as a sign of movement, not failure. You learn to listen deeply to your body, your heart, your intuition, guiding you toward choices that bring meaning rather than empty satisfaction. You might find joy in the simplest of things: A walk in nature, a conversation that sparks new ideas, a moment of silence that reconnects you with your essence. And when doubt creeps in, as it surely will, remember that it is part of the human experience, a signal that you are growing, stretching beyond your comfort zone. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Honor each step forward, no matter how small, and forgive yourself for the times you falter. The life you build now is a legacy, not just for others, but for yourself. A testament to your resilience, your authenticity, and your capacity to create meaning at any stage. So take a moment. Visualize the life you want to live. What values will guide you? What passions will you nurture? What connections will you deepen? This vision is yours to shape. It can shift and evolve, just like you. And as you move forward, carry with you the understanding that success is not a destination fixed by society or by past expectations. It is a journey of becoming, of aligning with your truth, embracing change, and creating a life that feels deeply, undeniably yours. Now, I leave you with this question to sit with. What does a life you love look like to you beyond any outside measure? And what step, however small, will you take today to move closer to it?